Welcome to the Evening Roundup, May 1st, 2025. I'm Maya Hayes.
And I'm Julian Vance.
Tonight, we're doing a deep dive into some pretty significant developments, focusing on AI technology and what's happening up in space.
Yeah, looking at what these changes mean right now and, the bigger picture too.
Okay, let's start with AI and, well, how it's starting to mingle in our social lives. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg floated an idea recently.
The AI chatbots for loneliness thing.
Exactly. He mentioned data suggesting the average American wants way more friends than they actually have. Like the numbers were, what, fewer than 3 friends, but wanting around 15.
Yeah, it's a striking statistic, and his idea is that AI chatbots could perhaps fill that social gap.
But that immediately raises some flags, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to ask, can an artificial interaction truly replace human friendship? It gets into the core of what we mean by connection.
And experts are definitely weighing in, worried about the downstream effects, like could it erode empathy, or even basic people skills if we lean too much on AI?
That's the core concern, yeah. Or we potentially stunting our ability to form real bonds? It's a valid question.
Okay, shifting slightly, let's look at AI and how we get information. AI search engines are really taking off.
They are. We saw reports showing 38% growth in their use just in 2024.
Wow, 38%.
Yeah, it suggests people are, well, maybe liking that direct answer style. And these things do tend to get better the more you use them.
And naturally, the big tech players are noticing this trend. Google, for instance, is experimenting.
With ads, right?
Yeah, testing ads in AI chatbots, not in their own Gemini, to be clear, but through their AdSense platform with some AI startups. iAsk and Liner were mentioned.
Interesting. So they're dipping their toes in. It makes you wonder about the user experience down the line, though.
How so?
Well, if AI becomes your main info source and then ads start popping up, how does it change things? Does it affect the neutrality of the answers you get? It's something to watch.
Definitely. Okay, now the economy. Are we seeing AI start to impact jobs, particularly for new grads?
There are some, let's say, early signals or correlations people are pointing to. New graduates having a tougher time finding jobs. And at the same time, generative AI is getting better at.
At doing those entry-level tasks, like reading data, summarizing things, writing basic reports.
Exactly. Tasks that traditionally might have fallen to someone just starting out. But we have to be cautious here.
How so?
Well, job markets are complex, right? There are always lots of factors, the overall economy, interest rates, you name it. So pinning it all on AI is probably too simplistic right now. Plus, how well AI actually does those jobs is still debated.
Right. Nuance is key, though not everyone is so cautious. Mark Andreessen, the VC,
Yes. He has a, shall we say, bolder take.
he basically thinks AI will replace most jobs, except, conveniently, venture capitalists like him.
Right, because their work relies on, what was the phrase, unique genius.
Yeah, things like intangibility, taste, human relationships, psychology.
It's quite a statement. And it contrasts sharply with the concerns about mass unemployment and ideas like universal basic income, which he's not a fan of.
No, definitely not. It's a perspective from someone heavily invested in the tech itself, isn't it?
It certainly is. You have to consider the source, as always.
Okay, let's look at AI in science. There's a nonprofit, Future House, backed by Eric Schmidt.
Right, they've launched this AI platform. It has tools with names like Crow, Falcon, Owl, Phoenix.
What do they do?
They're designed to help researchers. So searching literature, planning chemistry experiments, identifying prior work. The idea is to accelerate discovery.
Sounds promising. Has it led to any big breakthroughs yet?
Well, that's the interesting part. Despite the promise, we haven't really seen major scientific firsts attributed directly to these tools, not yet anyway.
So AI is maybe more of an assistant than an innovator in science right now.
It seems that way. It can definitely speed things up, handle data, but that sort of out-of-the-box thinking that leads to breakthroughs, it still seems to be largely human territory for now.
Got it. Now, evaluating these AI models themselves, there's a bit of controversy around Ella Marina.
Yes, the benchmarking platform. A study came out suggesting it might have a bias.
I'm a bias towards the big guy.
Towards proprietary models, yeah. The claim is that their developers can sort of test multiple versions privately and only put their best foot forward publicly.
Gaming the system a bit, potentially.
That's the allegation. Now, Ella Marina strongly denies this. They dispute the findings.
Of course.
But it does highlight a really important issue. How do we ensure these benchmarks are actually fair and transparent? If they're skewed, our whole perception of which AI is best could be off.
Good point. Okay, let's talk about Anthropic. They've rolled out new features for Claude.
Right. Integrations and advanced research.
Integrations lets developers hook Claude up to different data sources, business tools.
Yeah, it makes it more useful in practical, everyday business settings. But the advanced research feature is, I think, particularly interesting.
What does that do?
It lets Claude go out and crawl websites, internal documents, whatever you pointed at, basically,
Right.
to generate much deeper reports, with citations, importantly.
How long does that take?
Anywhere from, say, 5 minutes to maybe 45 minutes, depending on how complex the task is. It's part of a broader trend, really.
You mean like other chatbots doing similar things?
Exactly. Gemini, Grok.
Yeah.
They're also adding these more advanced research capabilities, often powered by models specifically designed for reasoning and pulling together complex information.
But using Claude might come at a higher price tag. I saw a report suggesting it could be, what, 20–30% more expensive than OpenAI's models in enterprise?
That's the finding, yes. And it boiled down to something called tokenizer inefficiency.
Tokenizer inefficiency. Can you break that down?
Sure. So a tokenizer chops up text into little pieces, tokens, for the AI to process. Claude's tokenizer apparently tends to create more tokens from the same amount of text compared to, say, GPT models.
Ah, okay. So even if the price per token is low.
You end up using more tokens overall, which drives up the cost. And it can also affect how much information the model can actually handle at once, its effective context window. So a big advertised window might not be quite as usable in practice because of this.
That makes sense. One last AI point. NVIDIA and Anthropic aren't seeing eye to eye on something.
On U.S. export controls for AI chips, yeah. Anthropic supports them. NVIDIA, not so much.
What's NVIDIA's argument?
Basically, they're saying U.S. firms should just focus on out-innovating everyone else rather than trying to restrict China's access. They point out China has a huge capable AI research community anyway.
And NVIDIA has, well, significant business interests in China too, right?
Absolutely. They mentioned that new licensing rules for their H20 chips sold there could cost them potentially billions, like $5.5 billion in lost revenue in Q1 of their next fiscal year. So there's a clear financial angle to their position, too.
Right. It highlights that whole tangle of tech, business, and geopolitics.
Definitely.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. Up into space. NASA's Psyche mission. This is the one going to that metal asteroid, right?
That's the one. The potentially super valuable asteroid. It's hit a small snag.
Oh, what happened?
A temporary issue with its electric propulsion system. Apparently, there was a drop in fuel pressure,
Okay.
which caused the thrusters to shut off automatically. It's a safety feature, essentially. Engineers are looking at the data now before they restart them.
So it's not mission critical at this point. Still on track for 2029.
Seems that way. They're investigating, but the plan is to resume thrusting towards the asteroid, which is out between Mars and Jupiter. Arrival is still expected in 2029.
And just remind us, why is this asteroid so interesting? Apart from the potential value.
Well, unlike most asteroids, which are rock or ice, Psyche seems to be mostly metal. The leading theory is that it might be the exposed core of an early planet that got stripped of its outer layers somehow.
Wow. So it's like a chance to study the inside of a planet.
Exactly. You could give us incredible insights into how planets like Earth formed in the early solar system. That's the real scientific prize here, much more than any potential mining value.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. Also, in space news, there was an issue during that recent all-female spacewalk.
Yeah, astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers were outside the ISS installing a bracket for future solar arrays. McClain noticed a small slice in her spacesuit glove.
That sounds worrying.
It does. But ground control looked at it closely, assessed the situation, and decided it wasn't a serious safety risk. The spacewalk continued and finished successfully.
Okay, that's good news. But it does bring up the issue of the spacesuits again, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a reminder that these suits, the EMUs, are pretty old designs. And there have been ongoing issues, particularly around getting a good fit for everyone, especially women.
Didn't McClain have an issue before with suit sizing? Back in 2019?
That's right. A planned all-female spacewalk had to be rescheduled because they didn't have two medium-sized upper torsos ready on the station at the same time.
So this latest glove incident just, well, underscores the need for newer, better-fitting suits.
Absolutely. The current suits are based on tech that's decades old now, and getting the next generation ready has faced delays. As we look towards the end of the ISS and future missions, reliable, well-fitting suits are critical.
Okay, well that seems to wrap up our main points for this evening, May 1st, 2025. A lot happening in both AI and space.
Yeah, Quite a range, from AI potentially changing social interactions and jobs, to the nuts and bolts literally of keeping missions running in space. It shows the speed of change, but also the real-world challenges.
So we encourage you, listening, to think about these developments. What stands out to you? Are you more intrigued by AI's role in society, or maybe the potential of these AI research tools? Or perhaps the challenges and wonders of space missions like Psyche?
Yeah, how do you see these things playing out? It's clear AI is weaving itself deeper into our lives, and staying informed, critically informed, is important. And space exploration, well, it continues to push boundaries, forcing us to solve really hard problems. Now think about how these fields might even connect and shape our future.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.